Morning everybody, Rob Anderson here. This is a quick demonstration, an example on how I'd put together a banner or a meme or something that I could use as an image on my website or to use for viral marketing on Pinterest or Facebook or Tumblr, whatever it is. So to not waste time, very simply, I started a new file up here on Photoshop. It's 300 by 300 pixels. No reason other than it's a pretty handy medium size. If I'm going to use it, let's say for example on a side banner on my website. Sorry guys, when everything's running here it gets a little bit busy. If I want to use it here on the right hand side of my website, 300 by 300 is a nice size. Okay, what I did was I went to sxc.u, I browsed under the word fear, came up with a few examples. I just needed a background image for an idea that I had while reading the Sunday papers yesterday. One of my favorite journalists, always well worth purchasing the Sunday papers for, Dumiso, writes brilliantly incisive pieces, and I want to run a quote of his on this. So I got an image that portrayed a bit of fear, a bit of panic. That's what I wanted. The picture or the user's Disco Fairy, I will give her credit for that. You need to do that, and this is the image. I did click download and I've saved it. Okay, so here's what I normally do. I'm going to run through this as if I were doing it myself and try not to get muddled while I sort of try to think and not think at the same time. Firstly, I often do a duplicate layer straight away for no reason. So if you ask the professionals, sorry, I also need to warn you, I'm self-trained, so I don't really know what I'm doing enough, and yet it doesn't matter because I can produce the goods, and you're going to get to see how I do it my way. Now, I find that when I do a layer, if I make a mess up, it's easy enough for me to go back and fix. Okay, I'd like to have it with a solid background color. So that's pretty cool. I'm on my second layer. I'll do that. Do a duplicate layer again. All I'm trying to give this by doing it this way is a bit of depth, if that's the word. I need it to look I'm loath to say more professional. It's not about looking professional, and yet it is about that too. It's about giving it a polished look, something that's not sort of like, you just copied it off of Google searches, images, and thought, cool, people are going to love this. So pretty much all I'm doing here is just creating a slightly layered effect. So, my bad. Swap these around. If you're going to see how I do this, you just got to follow along, pause it, and go back. Sometimes, by the way, at this point, what I like to do is style that layer. Oh, my bad. Sorry, I didn't want an inner shadow. I did say with a drop shadow, which makes that layer more standouty, and perhaps even a very thin stroke. Which stroke gives it a layer, a frame around it, so that it just pops it out a little bit better. Okay, then I'm going to go to find the image that I downloaded. I've got it on my desktop. Apologize for everything else that I've got on my desktop, guys. There it is there. Sorry, with the video running, recording this, and at the same time Photoshop open, and of course probably another a pile of other things. Not the best way to do this. Okay, so I simply just open it up, I drag it across to here. I don't even need this anymore. This obviously is hugely oversized, so I would minimize it. Sorry guys, it'll take a minute or so, a couple of seconds while it catches up. I just need it to fit within the spaces that I have here. Something like that is cool. Oh, that works for me. Okay. So all I've done is created a few layers to frame. In fact, let me layer this one too. I quite like that. Incidentally, if I do this, I go back to this layer. Which layer did I? The pink layer. I created effects. I right click it. I click copy layer style. I can go back to the eye and do paste layer style, and it'll drop the shadow on without having to go back, and the stroke, that little frame. Okay, now finally I'm going to get to writing what I wanted to write. Domiso had a very nice line. I enjoyed it. It's totally true, and it shows you how society, what's the word, brainwashes, I suppose, brainwashes us. Oh wow, I want a really tiny text here. Okay, now in my experience this always involves a fair amount of experimentation, and being that I'm not an absolute genius at it, so you can do this in a number of ways, by the way. The one way is to break up your text into, let me just position this already, because that sometimes helps. You might find that if you did this and then this, no, that's not going to work. You see, all it does is scrunch it all up. Okay, so if you can see there already, the text is going to be too big. That's fine. So I'd want it to be kind of about, it needs to be legible, obviously, but at the same time you want it to not cover too completely, or what's the word, you know. Okay, so that section of it, no one ever says don't panic. Let me use that as my base. And that's fair enough. So I just have to apply that. I go back to the text, hover over it, and then click. So unless there is, I can try this, a really good reason to panic. Perhaps if I go back here and put this all in central, it will balance it out and make it a little bit okay. This is not working for me, so what I'm going to do is delete this section. Then I'm going to go back here, click text for a new one, a new text section. And drop that in here. Okay, so now the question is this legible enough? Personally, I would say not. So I'd go back to layer. What you can do is either change the color of your text. So let's try that. I'm on text now. No, I'm not. I'll go back to the color on the text, and I simply just change it to a dark color, probably the best way to do it. And do the same for the first text. You could, sorry guys, you could give it backgrounds and things with layer styles. So let me show you. You go to layer and you do layer style, and for example, a shadow won't help here, but color stroke might. Let's have a look. Let's pick, just to show you what would happen, red. Change the stroke from 3 down to 1. It's not too bad. You could in fact change the opacity with it so that it's not quite. Catch of course is that if you do that there, you should copy layer style, paste layer style. You should do the two that they're the same, and that's not always, it doesn't always work out the best with this. Okay, this is working okay for me. I kind of needed it to be less words. I think what I want to do is this. Click apply, go to the text button again. I'm gonna delete this bit because I want it to be more legible. I need to make it clearer. So that's all cool. So if I do that, that's fine. And now I need to do a new text one as well for the bit that I've removed. Charming. What bit is missing? Unless there is. Actually, there's an easier way to do this. Go here, choose a really good reason to panic. Oh, sorry, let me just delete this layer. A really good reason to panic, and I'll just do duplicate layer. What's cool about this is it comes with a correctly done everything. So I move that up to there, I click on the text, I copy it, paste the text I really want, and there we go. My bad, I need to do one more thing, so for now put that up to there. That's cool, and a really good reason to panic. I need to raise. I need another duplicate layer. And the text in there. Is for the man who inspired me. In fact, I think what I should do here, something to make it slightly different. I'm not too sure. Let's try this. That's perhaps okay. Maybe remove the stroke. Here we go. And for that matter, squish it down a bit. That's pretty much it, guys. So all I do now is I hit File. Very often, if I was going to use this for banners, for example, on a website or for a client, I would then save as. Sorry, you got to apply it first, and I'd save it in its Photoshop form. And the reason I do that is then I could come back and fiddle with it. In fact, I'm going to do that for now. So let's call it Don't Panic. Save it to my desktop and save it in the Photoshop format. That way, guys, I have no idea what that means. I always just ignore that and click save. That way I can now save it as a JPEG and use that. Maximum is probably overkill, but that's fine. I'll worry about that later. So there we go. Quite simply now, I will have on my desktop somewhere, no, I don't want to ever reboot again, is an image that should show up. So there we go. No one ever says don't panic unless there's a really good reason to panic, and that's a very, very true fact. So that's it, guys. I'm done. I'm going to take this now and put it up onto a few places. I'm going to give credit when I put it up for Disco Fairy, the producer of the image, and Dumiso, who produced those sage words. Thanks, guys. Enjoy your day. Cheers.